All right, well, welcome in to a Thursday edition of the Fat Beans Coffee Lab. We're going Thursday tonight for a couple of reasons. First, I got a couple obligations, so I won't be doing probably the Friday show tomorrow. So I'll just go ahead and do a quick Thursday show. Just keep my chops sharp, keep growing as this streaming thing progresses. But also, I realize I don't have any coffee for myself. Shame. So we can't have that because we got to keep Fat Beans in the sauce because that's what it's all about. So more important than that, I've been roasting so much to learn and so much to, kind of just been letting other people try it that I've neglected myself. So tonight we're going to just do a very quick show. And what we're going to be trying to accomplish is to get myself some of those sweet beans back. So, that said, just going to warm up old Judy 2 here, bring her to about 230 degrees Fahrenheit, drop some beans in. Tonight we'll be doing some Kenyan, just a real rounded, kind of meets my own personal flavor profile. Just to give you a little read on the Kenyan. Intensely sweet coffee, flavors of maple, regular dark sugars, moderate fruited characteristics like cooked stone fruit, grapefruit, black currant tea, complex basic baking spices and aroma. So, just here. Hi, Fat Beans is keeping me company while I write notes for the day, so thanks. There you go. So, we all do our parts. Fat Beans is not unlike the rest of you. So, thank you for keeping me company. Just to give you a little update, Lisa MB. So, I know because you seem to be the most in tune with me as far as the technical nature of the coffee. If you remember from last night, what I was experiencing was we did really well. It took about 3.5 minutes to get the coffee to yellowing. Then it hit first crack by about 7 minutes and 15 seconds. Now, anywhere between 7 minutes and 12 minutes for first crack is usually, whatever reason, what roasters tend to think that it's in the good zone. With that particular coffee, what happened was we moved way too quick through the middle. And when I first tasted a bean, just by pulling it out and tasting it, I could taste really harsh acid taste. So then when I went ahead and I was kind of concerned because I said I was going to give this to somebody else, I immediately was like, well, I don't think this is something I want to kind of be able to escape the basement because it's just not setting up right. It didn't feel right when I roasted it. So I quick made a cup of it last night, and it was drinkable. I would say it was more than passable, but it was just harsh, and kind of that's what I'm building my whole little experiments around, are trying to weed out some of those things that I find unpleasant about coffee that I get. One of those is freshness, obviously. The second is I think there is an overabundance of dark roasting things to kind of cover up some blemishes. And 3, I think in order to get speed out of a batch, I think harshness is something, especially in specialty coffee, that is not being focused on enough. Now, that's not to say that there's not thousands of good roasters who are weeding out harshness. So, to be honest with you, I walked into the trash can, threw it away, said, "Nah, I'm not gonna do this," and we just re-roasted a different bag. And I'll be honest with you, it was later than I wanted to roast, and I was kind of upset with myself, but I told Vegetable Beard last night in a text, it was my magnum opus. Like, it was the best coffee I've ever roasted. Like, I have not even drank any of it yet, but just, you can tell. Like, you can tell by the way it looks, you can tell by the way it feels, you really can tell by just the smell. That is going to be some amazing coffee. So, that's why we do the things we do early on. That's the part of education. You get built up, you bring yourself back down. and you got to get back here. So now tonight, I'm wanting to try to get a win because now my pride's hurt a little bit. So this is got to get myself some coffee, but I also got to get my pride built back up. Fits your theory that bigger roasters turn out faster, harsher coffee. Really, it's only the difference between a couple of minutes, which is so surprising. And it really is. Bigger roasters tend to elongate time, but it's all about finding the sweet spot of the coffee. If you're going to go medium, you got to get that middle part just right. We're going to do a little bit more of a light roast tonight, so there's not going to be that huge emphasis on getting it right in the middle. This will be more about just making sure we don't overdo it. But with that particular coffee, I think it was just going to get confusing in the cup. And we're trying to create good coffee experiences, so if it's always going to be the case that if I don't think it's going to be good, I'll just toss it. I'm building it from kind of a unique perspective. I didn't go to roasting school. I didn't start at a large roaster, so kind of just got to go with my nose, go with my gut. That's how I think I made the right call. I toss imperfect cakes. I get it. Yeah, so I mean, it's an art, and in the end of the day, like, it's fun to try to make things better, and it feels really good to make good things. So it feels awful when you have to send something out that you're not sure about. So it was just easier for me to pitch it. I still think they were probably good beans, but the world will never know. So we're going to go ahead and just do myself a little personal bag here. I'm going to experiment a little bit because I'm always learning. I think I have an idea of what I want to do, but what I'm finding out with coffee roasting is have an idea, listen to the coffee overlords laugh at you, and then I think I know what I want to do. So we will try to do that. So yeah, C439COR000. Yeah, we do coffee roasting here. We do it a couple of nights a week. As I refer to myself, this is Fat Beans Coffee Labs. This is an Aleo Bullet. It would be considered to be a 1 kilogram roaster, home roaster or a shop roaster. 1 kilogram, about 2 pounds. So this would fall into the line of very, very, very small batch coffee. Tonight we're going to just do 1 green pound, which will make about 12 ounces of roasted coffee. We'll do this tonight, and we're going to take this to about a city. You seem to be really good at coffee roasting. Well, I've been home roasting for about a year now. Roasting here on Twitch, about 3-4 nights a week. So drinking a lot of coffee over the past 6 months to a year. The Twitch kind of keeps me honest. It has me coming down here every night, roasting. So I feel that I'm better than the average bear as far as people who've never roasted coffee before, but coffee's one of those things that you can only get better at. Imagine you were stuck in the woods with no technology but some coffee. Could you still do your thing? So would I be stuck in the woods with only green coffee? I'm guessing that's the case. I think I could. I think the principles of roasting are much to be the same. In fact, this is probably the most scientific machine I've ever done. Give you a quick look, and I hate to do the bounce out. Just give you a couple of looks to see what I've done. Started on this. This is a Whirly Pop, Poppery 2. So this is just an air popper. That's where I got started. Moved up to this. It's a B-More. Kind of like looks like a toaster oven with a drum inside. Now we're up to this. If I had some fire, a ceramic jug, and a watch, I definitely could. I could do my thing, and I think I'd be able to at least get what I would consider to be top flight coffee. If it comes down to just brewing, I think I probably manage that too. So By no means would I say I'm a commercial coffee roaster, but our home game has been stepping up from from roast to roast. So in vouch, I've tried a few roasts, definitely a step above the rest. So yeah, I think I'm using a couple of principles. I buy what I consider to be the best beans. I make sure that the coffee that I put out is as fresh as possible. I try to coach everybody up about freshness. I really preach a couple of things. A, grinding it right before you drink it. B, using good water, which I think sometimes people forget, but just filtered water. And then C, making sure you're just drinking fresh. A lot of times local seems the best for fresh. So there it is. All right, well, we're going to drop this in. Kind of let you guys just join in with any questions you got in the chat. They can be coffee related. They can be really anything related. This is more of a, I like to get the data for myself, but I also just enjoy the chat, the community, just to hang out and just kind of pass the time. I am in my basement, so that's one thing that's made roasting a lot better, was just having some people just to hang out with. So I've only ever had a K-Cup coffee. Am I missing out? You really are. The first thing I would recommend you do, Z439, is go to a local coffee shop. I know it can be a little bit intimidating. Put your blinders on, walk into a local coffee shop and tell them, I just want pour-over coffee. Just say, give me your pour-over. They might just say, whatever you want, just give me a pour-over. I recommend you just drink a pour-over coffee from a coffee shop black and really just soak it all in. Don't, before you put any sort of cream or sugar, if you've heard about a coffee shop that people have talked about, maybe not Starbucks for pour over, I would say go to a local shop, get the pour over, taste it, and then if you get hooked, come back here and I can give you a lot of tips about how to step your game up. And it doesn't necessarily mean buying $1,000 equipment. Most of the people that I've been talking to on here about coffee roasting, I've really just moved them up to a drip roaster where they're just getting local beans or fresh beans, and it's jumped them up. They've sworn by it. My 66-year-old father-in-law, he never drank coffee until about 4 or 5 weeks ago. We went through a couple of things with him, and he was hooked. He said coffee tastes like dirt. Now he's drinking a cup of coffee every day. He said he only wants to drink it black because of the health benefits, and I think we made a bean lever out of him. Rim shot time. All right, so Judy's getting a little irritated, so we'll go ahead and drop this in her. Let her get started. Give you guys a little look and see what I'm seeing here. Oh. Wouldn't be a Fat Beans Roast show without a little bit of technical difficulties. So let's see if we can't get the camera up here. All right, I've seen some beans labeled Full City. That is actually the darkness level vegetable beard. So the levels of roast go light roast, or called city roast, full city, and then Vienna or French. And in that, you can call a city plus and a full city plus. Full city usually just means right to second crack, and they pull it before second crack happens. So that you can consider full city to be a very dark medium. You're going to see some of that oil on the beans, but hasn't reached second crack yet. Full city plus or Vienna is past second crack, and it's darn near close to have been being burnt. So that is what that rhetoric means for future note. All right, so Gunnar Canyon, Trying to bring it up to speed as quickly as we can. These first 4 minutes, we're really just trying to even the coffee out and get it dried out as quickly as possible. We're not really doing anything different as far as heat goes. We're just applying enough heat to really dry the coffee out. Are there any unique features in the Kenyans? The Kenyans are very tea-like. They're very light coffee. They tend to kind of gear themselves towards the lighter roast or the lighter side of things. So that is some of the big benchmarks for the Kenyans. You'll notice right now we got high heat, low fan. This is just trying to create really just a nice, hot, controlled environment that the beans can start to dry out on. We're starting to get a lot of smoke, which is a good indicator that more vapor, which is a nice indicator that we've reached what we call yellowing, and we should be at yellowing pretty soon. So just to give you guys a little kind of a visual look, beans have moved from a pale green to more of a yellow. At this point, the smell would suggest kind of smells like baked bread, so we'll go ahead and call that the yellow form. And we'll start tracking the coffee to make sure that it's slowly moving downwards. Hopefully everyone's had a good week. You'll look, it's just getting more and more yellow as we go. Overall, things are looking good. Trying to keep this level here somewhere around between 10 and 8 all the way to first crack. We'll start walking off the heat just a little bit, but we want to keep this somewhat consistent. So if it drops dramatically and it recovered there, what we're going to want to do is just add the heat to make sure that this number consistently is staying about 8. That is the desired kind of fall that I'm looking for in this coffee. We'll kick the fan up just a little bit. As we get a little closer, I do want to move some of that convection heat out, and I want to just get a little bit of that contact heat. Keep the beans leveled up but not going crazy. And there, we just lost. Nope, it recovered. We recovered. The EKG recovered, people. Do not worry. So at this point, this is actually what we would call half city. So if you're wondering about the cities, this is what we, Come on. Back up. Don't crash on me. This is what we'd call it. App City or cinnamon. Some places in Europe will actually drink coffee like this. Very, very grassy. They claim this is where you can find some of the most fruity notes, is at this level. Don't recommend it. Had it, not great. Yeah, I mean, if it's out there, someone's gonna say it's good. So that's just the nature of things. If somebody can get their hands on it and they think that no one else has had it, they'll tell you it's good. But that's such is life. It should be reaching first crack here in no time. There it is. Call that first crack. So we've marked first crack. At this point, the beans have hit what we call development. And this is where all the caramelization, all the work we've done in the last phase is now really starting to pay off. The beans are starting to exothermically push heat out, and it's really starting to get all of those flavors, those amino acids, those sugars are really starting to cook, really starting to caramelize now. What we want is to get about 20% of our overall roast in our development time. The roast was 9 minutes. We're going to look for somewhere between 1 minute 45 seconds and 2 minutes. We'll also play it a little bit we'll eyeball it, and we'll smell it too. Because that's how the dreams are made, kids. Notice it's just losing energy, and that's kind of with a light roast. That's kind of what you want. Now that we're about 20 seconds in, we just want it to kind of crash out. That's going to really help preserve some of those acidy flavors. So you will hit cool, drop the beans, go the old drop here, shooting beans everywhere. Okay, so technical fix here. Might be time for Judy to get a nice thorough cleaning. But we'll make sure to do that for tomorrow. Get her all fixed up, feeling good, feeling frisky. All right, so this generally how I like to take my coffee. Very light. I spent a little bit of more time in the earlier phases just to help develop some of those sugars, because this flavor, the coffee was promoting a lot of the sugar notes that this coffee has to promise. You'll notice that one thing I did kind of see is the coffee kind of lost a lot of steam towards the end. As far as a light roast goes, that's not the worst thing in the world. You want to charge just enough where it kind of falls off. If we would have tried to take this any darker, it would have not have made it. We really just charged just enough energy into the beans that they were able to take themselves through first crack. That's about it. But what that means is the fruity stone fruit flavors of this coffee is going to be well tacked in there. And I can already taste it in the, just on the chew. It's going to be a very Brian-friendly cup of coffee. It's going to be acidy, but not too acidy. But I think there's just enough that caramelization that we built up in the middle of the roast. I think this is going to be a pretty decent cup of coffee. So I'm excited to see what this Kenyan's got to offer. So there you go. That is my personal batch. Didn't brew it or roast it for anybody but myself. Sometimes you got to keep yourself happy. And the nice thing about having your own roaster is you can do that. So that is one of the perks. Looks good. Drink it on Saturday for everyone. Will do. Drink this. We'll make this for myself and Julie. That way we can give you a full rundown about not only what I'm tasting, but what Julie's tasting as well. So, good note there, Lisa MB. Next time I roast, I won't roast. I will actually brew. And we'll be doing the brew show. Julie and I will be down here 8:30 on Saturday, where we're going to kind of just go through, brew some coffee, drink some coffee, have some laughs, and give you guys a little bit of the state of the fat beans. So bring your ideas. If you got ideas for the stream, got ideas for Fat Beans Coffee, this is community-driven coffee. This is one of those things. It's babies weren't wrote, takes a village kind of thing. So Julie and I have ideas. We'll share our ideas about what we're thinking, give you an idea of what we're doing behind the scenes, but we're also very open to any sort of input that you guys have as far as things we can do on the stream, kind of places we can take the stream, as well as things we can do with the coffee. B Misfit, well, hello. And I see you're subscribed thanks to Lisa MB, so enjoy that Bean Man 1, B Misfit. Personal badge, yeah, treat yourself. Yep. So that is why I got into roasting to begin with, was to make myself personal batches, and I will go ahead and say it very arrogantly. I haven't had a bad cup of coffee since August, so that's the world we live in now. But Saturday show, Julie, me, we'll make some coffee. We'll brew some coffee. We'll talk about where things are going. We'll also talk a little bit about the Messenger, the professional coffee roaster that I'll be going to hopefully next week with Kyle Ross. So we'll go ahead and give you guys a rundown of what that means, and then we'll also talk about some of the things we're doing before we start opening this up to the rest of the world. We'll see where it goes. It's just so new. I think one of my biggest things is I'm a little bit nervous, a little bit reluctant. I don't think that's warranted. I think the coffee's good. I think the process is good. So I think we just now, next step we need to take is just letting it rip. So as the aforementioned, gonna be always planning on being a quick show. Just want to get down here. But if I was gonna roast anyway, I might as well come and shoot the breeze a little bit. If you guys got any questions, go ahead and let me know. I'm just gonna clean up a little bit here. Want to hit me with any noodle scratchers? Now's the time to do it. We are in kind of rare air. We don't normally do a Thursday show. There's a hardcore beanheads here right now. So if you got anything on your mind that you want to know, shoot that at me while I try to manage a mess a little bit here. One thing I do know is tomorrow's Friday, whatever that means. And I don't know about Austin or wherever on God's green earth you are, B Misfit, or anyone else in the chat. I don't know where you guys are at, but we are going to get our first spring weekend where it's supposed to be middle 60s here all weekend long. No rain, all sun. So you're in Texas too, so then you guys can all give us the Texas forecast from what we got in here. But we have reached the summit. I know right now in Texas you guys are at the top, so enjoy it while it lasts, I guess. March was always the bittersweet month because the weather was just top notch, but it was always that kind of feeling in the back of my neck that I'm like, oh man, this whole thing's gonna go wrong here real soon. I've been in Lauderdale till April 15th for my second Superman shot. Yep, go ahead and get your genetically modification, and then back to that international life, B Misfit. So you'll notice, B Misfit, we have an emote, so we're legit now. You want to check that out since you got the subscription. Feel free to abuse the chat with the new emote. See the there it is, Lisa MB. She showed you the way. That's B-Man 1, B Misfit. You got the subscription thanks to Lisa MB. So you go ahead and fire up B-Man 1. Oh, use the Fat Beans one, Misfit. Come on, man. A golden couple of weeks. Vegetable Beard, what's the old status update on the new map? Left this pristine virgin wall for you. Just waiting. Now I saw it looks pretty good from last night, but if you have an update on the map, let me know. Very curious as to how that's going. Oh, there you go, B Misfit. You have it. Inside intel. He was working on it yesterday. Very nice. I think it's going to be a nice addition to the old roast show here. Really step us up that second notch. Pretty good. Very satisfied with how this turned out. Give you one last gander before it gets digested into me. He missed it. What are those? Cool. Those are cool emotes. One more for those of you in the back. Land home power. Ooh, that's nice. So traditional light roast. We'll see. As always, we'll see when it gets in the cup, but got something pretty tasty there. All right, well, hopefully see all of you guys in the chat on Saturday. We'll bring Julie down here, kind of even me out a little bit so that I'm not just talking to myself. That's always fun. So bring your questions, bring your ideas, bring your inspirations, and we will be down here 8:30 on Saturday night. Thanks for all of you, as always, for just hanging out, making the Thursday quick roast go just a little bit easier. It's always much obliged and much appreciated. I'm gonna skedaddle, just try to even out before the last day of the week. Thank you. As always, stay caffeinated, be easy. I'll see you kids on the other side. Surprise.